Hi, from my screen to yours, my name is Sammy. Today's video will be talking about all the new dramas coming out in April. But first off, I want to thank you again for everyone who watched my last video. And without further ado, let's just quickly jump into everything coming out this month. As always, let's start off with the K-dramas going by release date. The first one coming out is season 2 of Bloodhounds. Season 1 came out in 2023, which I did not watch. Honestly, I don't think I've even heard about it. Season 1 was about this friendship between these two fighters, their journey taking down loan sharks. From the My Drama List score, it has an 8.7, which is pretty high, I feel, even for My Drama List, so seems like people enjoyed it. And this season seems to be more focused on the fighting aspect. One of the male leads pursuing his dream to become a boxing champion. I never saw season 1, like I said, so I watched the season for that, and it seemed very action-packed, pretty interesting and fun with a compelling friendship at the center of it. I just personally am not that interested in sports stories. However, if it sounds interesting, it's probably a pretty good show. Next coming out, I think this is maybe one of the most anticipated popular dramas coming out this month, and that is Perfect Crown. And probably a big reason is because our female lead is played by IU in this alternate Korea where monarchs rule, and it's basically kind of like a comedy romance between our female lead played by IU, who is a chaebol, basically someone who's really rich, and then our male lead who is a prince. Watching the trailer, I kind of thought it would be more not serious but like not as funny as the trailer was. Because I like IU as an actress, I'm still gonna give it a chance and see how it is. But yeah, based on the tone, I can't guarantee if I'll end up watching the whole thing. Next, we have another sequel. This is season 3 of Yumi's Cells, one I have heard of before, but I've never watched any of the previous seasons. I think it's based off a webtoon. Again, I watched the trailer for season 1. It's basically a combination of real life acting, but also animation, and the animation seems really cute, lighthearted. Kind of reminds me of Inside Out, but instead of portraying emotions, it's like the cells in your body, I guess. But it just seems like a cute, sweet show, however, one that I'm not personally interested in. Next, we have a drama, which is We Are All Trying Here. This has an ensemble cast, and the description says it's about all of their personal stories struggling with feelings of jealousy and envy. I did watch a trailer, and maybe there's more trailers out since then, but the one that I watched, it focused on these two actors, and I was kind of confused because it seemed like more of their story, but I think it actually is supposed to be an ensemble cast. But anyway, it seems like a very human story. It's not really typically my vibe, but only because I like those two specifically, I'll maybe give it a try. We'll see. Definitely low on the priority list though. One that is high on my priority list, and if you know my taste, you'll know why, and that is the Scarecrow. So the plot is there's two men and they have a pretty rocky relationship. Something happened in their past, but they're forced to work together to investigate these serial murders that cover the span of decades. Honestly, I was expecting, from the trailer at least, something a bit more serious, more suspenseful, like the typical serial killer case solving K-drama, but the trailer made it feel more kind of like a buddy cop drama or movie, and so that caught me a little off guard, but I'm still interested. It does seem like there's, you know, a lot of suspense given the nature of the plot, but I am hoping that the actual drama when watching it is more dark and serious than the trailer made it seem. We will just have to see. Based on that, I will say that I'll check it out, but can't say for sure if I'll finish it. Next, we have another rom-com. This is Sold Out on You, and this is a romance between the male lead who is a CEO and our female lead who is a home shopping host. They both really live dedicated to their work, and so romance hasn't really been a priority for them, but this is their story to find that love. And the trailer seemed super like silly rom-com, like even more than the usual, so it just seems pretty over the top. Personally, I found that to be just not for me. Too silly. Like, I can handle a certain level of rom-com K-drama shenanigans, but this one just was too much, even from the trailer. This one's definitely not for me, and I don't really know if it's good. I guess if you're into that, then this could be a good time. Next, totally different genre is If Wishes Could Kill, and this is horror K-drama, which it seems actually very overtly horror, like scary scary, not just creepy vibes. But basically the plot is there's a group of high school students and they discover this app that can grant them any wish, but with a deadly price. That in itself is literally nothing special. That's probably the plot of so many horror like slasher movies and stuff. I do think it's a bit interesting because I feel like you don't get that many K-dramas that are in the horror genre, but also in the slasher genre specifically. Personally, I'm not good with horror, especially like slashers and the supernatural, so this one just isn't for me. But if you are a horror fan, I feel like it could be a fun watch. I do feel like this sort of story can sometimes not be done that well, so it's hard to say based on the trailer. Could still be a fun time regardless if you just want to see some good kills, I guess. Second last K-drama is Filing for Love. This is another rom-com, but this one, our male lead works in this office and he gets demoted, but he gets this secret tip and he learns a secret about his manager, kind of uses that to try and get revenge on her. But as they learn more about each other because of this, it develops into a relationship. From the trailer, again, the male lead especially seemed to be acting like exaggerated for comedic effect, but I do think that if I had to pick between this one and Sold Out on You, I would personally prefer to watch this one because I think the office setting is just more interesting and it does seem less goofy than the other one. But again, I'm not actually going to watch either of these. Last K-drama to talk about is one called Gold Land. This one, our female lead works as a screening agent at the airport and she one day comes across smuggled gold, and this is her story. She's thrust into this world of crime and greed and chaos. From the trailer, the drama seems very fast-paced with a charismatic cast of characters. The plot is thrilling as everyone's fighting and trying to get their hands on this gold. I think it's always interesting when you see a like normal person suddenly finding themselves in this sort of situation. I think this will be an interesting watch. I think I'll definitely give it a go and see how it is. Next, we have C-dramas. I just have 3 to talk about. First one is Dream of Golden Years. This one came out in mid-March. I don't think I've been that caught up in the forums or whatever, but I had no idea this was out, although I had heard of the drama because I like the female lead actress. But basically the story is it's set in the 80s and she wants to take a risk and start becoming an entrepreneur, and this is her journey to success and becoming like a businesswoman, girl boss, you know, the struggles, the challenges, romance along the way. Honestly, I'm only interested to give this like 2 episodes because I like the main actress. I just want to see her act, and who knows, maybe I'll like it enough to watch more. I don't know. Next, we have Love Beyond the Grave. This one started airing recently. It is a fantasy historical romance between our female lead, who's just like a ghost king, the master of all ghosts, something like that, and the male lead is a general. It's very like fantasy, which always kind of makes me a bit wary. Do you think the leads are pretty charismatic and they seem well cast for this role? They look good together. Yeah, I'll give this one a chance. Last one to talk about is Veil of Shadows. This is another fantasy historical show, except this one follows various, I guess, entities, beings that are all trying to hunt for this great demon, and they all have different, you know, backstories, motivations, reasons for why they're trying to do this. It seems like 4 main characters all entangled in all of this chaos and betrayal, romance, all of that, fighting, lots of fighting and magic and everything. If you like fantasy, like this seems super in that realm. I like the idea of all these different characters like scheming, backstabbing, that's the vibe at least, trying to further their own goals. However, again, the fantasy element does make me a bit, I don't know if I'd like it. It seems like it's popular or like doing well, so if you are watching this, I would love to know your thoughts and whether I should give this one a go. I feel like weirdly drawn to it. Like I watched the trailer and even though it's not like the fantasy honestly kind of scares me, not like actually scares me, but you know, but for some reason I also feel weirdly drawn to it. I don't know, maybe I'll give it a go someday and see. As always, I would love to know what you'll be watching this month. Are there any that I didn't mention? I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to join my small drama community and I'll see you in my next video.